So here is the SPC upper control arm on the driver's side. Took it out. Why? Because these bushings are fucked. Shouldn't be moving like that. I'm gonna show you an easier technique with removing these things. Now, I'm not going to go over the details of removing the upper control arm from the truck, as I already have a full detailed video on that, and I'll link that in the description below. Now, going through the instructions here for the X-axis bushing replacement provided by SPC. This is the part number. The first thing they tell you is to measure this distance here, and I already did that with this tape measure and measured out to about 7/3/8. So just make sure you note that critical distance, because otherwise if you put the bushing way too far, it'll be way too tight and you won't be able to reinstall this back onto the truck. So that's first and foremost. Secondly, they're telling you to remove the interior part of this bushing right here using a hole saw or a drill bit. I mean, definitely don't go with the drill bit, because that will take you forever. And using the hole saw isn't bad, but that also takes a lot of time. This is basically what it looks like after you use a hole saw, and they're telling you to use a 1 3/4 hole saw. So I drilled it essentially from the one side halfway through, and I used my angled drill, swapped the head, and then drilled it the other way, and then I was able to press this out. But I think we can get away without having to use the hole saw, and I'll show you how I'm going to try to achieve that. First things first, gotta clean up all this crud on the sleeve of the bushing. So, taking my wire brush and just cleaning all that crap out. That's pretty clean. Then I'll use my liquid wrench and apply it on this outside of the sleeve. Let that soak through for a bit. Now I am using 2 ball joint separator sets. These are from AutoZone, and here are the part numbers if you want to rent them out. But for this set, I took this, basically this cup cover piece here, and this set has more variety when it comes to the cups. These are actually not the right size, so I took the specific cups from here, cups, like cylinders, whatever you want to call it, and you'll see why it's important. Like this middle cup, the 57310B, this is basically just big enough to get the new bushing through. I mean, it's snug, you won't be able to push it by hand, but you'll be able to push it through with a hydraulic press. So you definitely need a hydraulic press for this job if you don't want to do all the extra work. And this cup is basically just big enough where the interior of the bushing can go right through like that. And this cup is what I use to push this old bushing, the old bushing all the way through out of this cup. So you'll see. I'll explain that as I do the work. So we'll start with basically trying to press this whole thing out. We're going to take this cup, 57310B. We'll place it on top like this, and we'll just let that bushing basically sit on that sleeve for now. Then we'll take this piece from the other kit, I'll place it on top, and I'm gonna take a socket. This is just a 24mm socket, doesn't matter, just enough so that you can get pressure onto the top of this cup. I'll tighten down the press, and then we'll just press it down. So this will basically push that sleeve through, well, the inner sleeve through, and then now the press will put the pressure on the outer sleeve, and you see that? Now it's just coming right down. And now we can relieve the pressure from the press. And I'll take this out. So you can see this is stuck on here now, but that outer sleeve has gotten pushed through. So now we're going to take this cup here, 57310G, and we're going to be lining it up with that inner sleeve. So place that on there. Place that top, and you gotta make sure that the cup is centered on that outer sleeve. Alright, that looks good, guys. So that is lined up with the outer sleeve. Now we should be able to press that all the way through. Just make sure you're checking as you're pressing it. And that's it. See, this sleeve, or this cup, is basically just a tiny bit smaller than the x-axis bushing. Hopefully you can kind of see that on the camera. So it'll go all the way through here without interference. And now we got this basically stuck in the inside. So I have to press this thing out. Now use your arbor plates just like that, and then I like to put my finger underneath here just to make sure. You can see that, but take my glove off so you can see. I like to take my finger under here so that the cup is basically just on the edge of this arbor plate so that the sleeve can be pushed through. See that? That's good. Now we can get to pressing that old sleeve out. There we go. Now if you want this kit where you can engage your bottle jack as well as store the lever and also store your arbor plates, just like this one, just go right on top. It's stacked too. I saw it at my store, so make sure you check that out. It'll be linked in the description below. So, both old sleeves pressed out, no cutting, no drilling, none of that garbage. Save you some time and effort. Let the press do all the work. Now let's install the new x-axis bushing. Now here,
what we want to do is just take our wire brush again and just clean up all the edges all the way around. Now, if you did this properly, there should be no burrs, but you know, it'll happen. And if it does come up or there's burrs on the edge here, just file them down and you should be good to go. So clean up the wire brush on both sides. You don't really have to fuss too much since this will be exposed to dirt and stuff anyway. So I'll clean up all the interior too. All that crap out of there. I'll take a rag and just clean up. Now we can take a wheel bearing grease. This is Timken. Always have wheel bearing grease on hand. Just take a little dab and then just grease the inside here. This will help with assembly and also prevent corrosion from forming. So it's just good practice. So get it especially on this outer edge here. I'll do that on both front and rear. Now we can take our new bushing. So you can see this is stiff, you can't even move it. I'll take a wheel bearing grease and just grease the outer sleeve, as you see, just like that. I'll do that for both sleeves. Now when we press these in, there is a specific orientation where you want to press these in. As you can see, there's these little castle ridges. So when these get pressed in, it should be oriented in this manner, where it's basically in the same direction as the arm itself, just like this. You'll see that on the manual when you do go through that. So for pressing in, we actually need the third cup that I was mentioning earlier. This is the 57310 Delta D, and this is basically just the same diameter as the outer edge of this. So you can press the new, so that you can press the new bushing in without having the bushing basically get bound up on here. So that's what you're doing, and it's also allowing for maximum downward force because it's using the whole surface here as a pressing surface. So let's get to that now. So we'll start with that lower cup. Make sure it's centered on there. We'll take our new X-axis bushing, place it on top, make sure it's oriented properly. And now we can take this piece. This comes with the kit when you order the X-axis bushing, and then you just place it on top. It's basically like a press. It's like a press device so that it allows the X-axis bushing to be pushed properly. So just double checking, making sure it's oriented in the right direction. Happy with that. Take your press tool there. Now we can start the pressing. Just make sure the outer edge of this is aligned properly. We'll double check again once it's flushed. Alright, I think that's about flushed up there. Now let's press away. Let's see, it's coming in. A little bit cocked there. Center that a little bit. There we go. That's why we want to put that grease in, so it centers itself. And I'm gonna stop here for now and I'll give you a quick note. I just want to make sure that you guys are aware that with this model, I can push this all the way down. There's a different variation of the SPC uppers, and you got to make sure that the critical distance, this critical width, is uniform when you take it out and when you put it on. And that's that. Pressed in, nice and clean. Now we'll do the same thing to the opposite side. And that's it, guys. Now you would definitely want to wipe off the excess grease there. Look at that, all done. It's definitely much better to just use the press than try to use the hole saw. That's so much work. And for further reference for you guys, this first cup here, the smallest cup, is basically just a little bit smaller than the sleeve, the outer diameter of this x-axis bushing. Now this second cup has the same diameter, almost the same diameter as the outside of this upper portion of the sleeve, as well as the same, well, it's big enough so that this sleeve can go all the way through. And this is also the same diameter as the loop on the upper controller arm itself. And this sleeve is just big enough where you can get the head of the x-axis bushing all the way through. So that's basically like the rough reference.
So that's pretty much it for today's video, guys. Make sure you smash that like and subscribe button if you haven't yet. And if you want to further support this channel, make sure you check out our store. So thanks for watching, and until next time, peace out, everybody.